Now let's begin. There's a moment in every man's life when the world as he knows it shatters, when the life he built with his bare hands crumbles like sand slipping through his fingers. For me, that moment came on my wife Gabrielle's birthday. I had spent weeks planning the perfect evening for her. Not just a dinner, but an experience, one that would remind her of the love we had built over the past 9 years. I hired a private chef to prepare her favorite meal, transformed our dining room with candlelight and soft music, and picked out the perfect bottle of wine we had shared on our honeymoon. It wasn't just a celebration. It was a message. I still love you. I still cherish you. But love is a foolish man's gamble when it is given to the wrong woman. She was supposed to be home by 6:30 p.m., maybe 7 at the latest. I knew her routine. I knew her habits. And I knew that when Gabrielle said she would be somewhere, she was there. Or so I thought. By 8 p.m., she still wasn't home. I sent her a text. Everything okay? Running late. No reply. 8:30. I stare at the untouched plates, the still warm food. The wine sat in its glass, catching the flicker of candlelight. 9 o'clock. Something in my gut twisted. Something wasn't right. And then I made the mistake that shattered the illusion. I check her location. Not at work. Not stuck in traffic. She was at a restaurant downtown. A high-end, intimate place. The kind of place couples went when they wanted to savor the moment. The kind of place where secrets were whispered over candlelight. My heart pounded so loudly I could hear it in my ears. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe her colleague surprised her. Maybe she had a reason. I called her. The phone rang twice before she answered. Hey, babe. Her voice was calm, almost distracted. I closed my eyes. A lie was coming. I could feel it. You on your way home? I kept my tone light. There was a small pause. Then a sigh. A rehearsed sigh. Not yet. Work is insane today. I'm buried in reports, and it's looking like I'll be here late. I opened my eyes and stared at my phone screen, where her location still blinked from the restaurant downtown. She was lying. She was sitting at a table, eating a meal with someone else, while I sat at home like a fool, waiting with a dinner that would never be eaten. My grip tightened around my phone. I wanted to ask her outright, wanted to catch her in a lie, but I held back. Instead, I forced a chuckle. All right, no problem. I'll see you later then. She had no idea I was already planning my next move. The drive to the restaurant felt like a lifetime, even though it was just a few miles away. My fingers gripped the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles turned white. What if I was wrong? What if I was overreacting? But deep down, I already knew. When I pulled up outside, I didn't need to go inside to see her. I saw her through the large glass windows. She sat at a small table for two. Across from her was a man. Not just any man. Her colleague. The one she had introduced me to months ago at a company event. The way they leaned toward each other. The way she laughed at something he said. The way their hands brushed over the table. This wasn't a business dinner. This was intimacy. My hands trembled. I wanted to storm in there, flip the table over, drag him out by his collar. Instead, I pulled out my phone, and I took pictures. She smiled at him in a way she hadn't smiled at me in years. I clenched my jaw. How long had this been going on? How long had she been playing me for a fool? Then, I made my final test. I dialed her number. Inside the restaurant, I saw her phone light up on the table. She glanced at the screen. For a split second, I prayed she would answer. But she didn't. She silenced the call. And just like that, something inside me snapped. She didn't even hesitate. She didn't even think about it. I let the call ring out. Then I took one last picture. And I walked away. This wasn't over. Not by a long shot. By the time she walked through the door that night, it was past 10 p.m. I sat in the living room, staring at the untouched dinner. The candles had burned low, the once warm food now cold and lifeless, just like our marriage. She sighed dramatically as she dropped her bag near the entrance. Babe, I'm so sorry, she said, her voice thick with fake guilt. Work was a nightmare today. The deadline was moved up, and I had no choice but to stay. I hated missing tonight. I turned my head, watching her. So perfectly rehearsed. So effortlessly deceitful. If I hadn't seen the truth with my own eyes, I might have believed her. Might have kissed her forehead and said, "It's okay, sweetheart." But not tonight. I nodded slowly, swallowed down the bitter rage clawing at my throat. "It's okay." She smiled, stepping closer. Then, she kissed my cheek. The same lips that had been laughing with him hours ago. I fought the urge to wipe it away. Not yet. Not yet. I wasn't going to confront her. I was going to destroy her. That night, as she slept peacefully beside me, I made the arrangements. The next morning, I met with a private investigator. If she thought she could fool me, she had no idea what was coming. I wasn't going to just catch her. I was going to expose her. And when I was done, she would have nothing. I barely slept that night. Lying beside Gabrielle, I could feel the weight of her betrayal pressing down on me, suffocating me. She slept peacefully, as if she hadn't just spent the evening with another man, as if she hadn't just kissed me with the same lips that whispered secrets to him. She was comfortable in her deceit. Too comfortable. And that meant one thing. This wasn't her first time. I stared at the ceiling, listening to the sound of her slow, even breathing. How many times had she come home to me like this? How many nights had she showered in our bathroom, washing away the scent of another man before slipping into our bed? I clenched my fists, my jaw tightening. She thought she was smart. She thought she had me fooled. But she had no idea. Because tomorrow, everything would change. The next morning, I woke up before she did. I went through the motions. Made her coffee, just like always. Cinnamon, 2 sugars, extra cream. She walked into the kitchen in her robe, stretching as she yawned. "Morning, babe," she murmured, giving me a lazy smile. "You're up early." I handed her the cup, forcing a smile. She had no idea I knew. She took a sip, humming in satisfaction. "You always make the best coffee," she said, leaning against the counter. "What would I do without you?" I almost laughed. Without me? She already had a backup plan. I kissed her cheek. It was the last time I ever would. Then, I left for work. Or at least, that's what she thought. Instead, I drove to the office of Daniel Cross, private investigator. Daniel was a no-nonsense guy, ex-military, sharp as a knife, and someone I trusted completely. He greeted me with a firm handshake, his eyes scanning me like he was reading every emotion I was trying to hide. "What's the situation?" he asked, motioning for me to sit. I slid my phone across the desk. He picked it up, scrolling through the photos I took at the restaurant. After a long pause, he exhaled. "Damn." I nodded. "I need everything. Every meeting, every text, every hotel. I want dates, times, proof." His gaze met mine. "You planning to confront her?" I shook my head. "Not yet. First, I need to know how deep this goes." Daniel nodded. "Consider it done." And with that, the countdown began. Over the next few weeks, I became an actor in my own life. I played the role of the clueless husband, the one who kissed his wife before she left for work, the one who laughed at her stories over dinner. I listened when she complained about her long hours at the office. I nodded when she said she was exhausted from meetings. I smiled when she told me she needed a weekend retreat with her colleagues. All eyes. I knew where she really was, because Daniel was tracking her every move. And every day, he sent me updates. Photos. Videos. Proof. Gabrielle wasn't just cheating, she was thriving in it. She met him in bars. She laughed with him in restaurants. She spent nights in hotels, only to come home and kiss me like nothing had happened. And the best part? Her lover was married, too. 2 cheaters. 2 liars. 2 people who thought they could have it all. And soon, they were going to lose everything. A month later, Daniel handed me the final report. I sat in my car, flipping through photo after photo. Gabrielle's hands on his face. His hands gripping her waist. Them kissing in the shadows of a parking lot. Them checking into a hotel together. It was undeniable. And now, it was time to act. I wasn't just going to confront her. I was going to break her. Step 1. Her career. Gabrielle was a respected woman at work. High-ranking. Well-paid. But the company had a strict anti-fraternization policy. If they found out she was sleeping with a subordinate, she would be ruined. Step 2. Her reputation. She loved being seen as the perfect wife. She thrived on admiration. If her family, her friends, her colleagues found out, she would be disgraced. Step 3. Her security. We had joint accounts, shared assets. I had already moved my money. By the time she realized what was happening, she'd have nothing. And lastly, step 4. Her betrayal would become her downfall. I had the evidence. I had the power. And I wasn't going to let her walk away unscathed. That night, I sat at the dining table, waiting. She walked in late again, sighing dramatically as she dropped her bag by the door. "You wouldn't believe the day I had," she said, running a hand through her hair. "Back-to-back meetings. I'm exhausted." I just watched her, silent, still, unmoving. She frowned. What's wrong? Slowly, I pushed a folder toward her. What's this? She asked, picking it up. Open it. She did. The moment she saw the photos, the hotel receipts, the screenshots of texts, she froze. Her breath hitched. Her hands trembled. She looked up at me. Oh, Robert, I can explain. No, I said coldly. You can't. She swallowed, her lips parting in panic. I made a mistake. It didn't mean anything. I laughed. Actually laughed. Didn't mean anything. I leaned forward. You lied to my face. Every day. You cheated on me for months. Don't stand there and insult me with excuses. She blinked rapidly, tears pooling in her eyes. Please, Robert. I still love you. Love. I shook my head, a bitter smile curling my lips. You don't love me, Gabrielle. You love what I gave you. You love the life I built for you. She exhaled shakily, her fingers gripping the folder like it was her lifeline. And then I delivered the final blow. I've sent this to your boss. Her face drained of color. WH. I leaned back. They have a zero-tolerance policy for workplace affairs, don't they? I wonder how they'll react when they see proof that their high-ranking executive was sleeping with her subordinate. She staggered back like I had slapped her. Robert, please don't do this. I tilted my head. Why not? She collapsed into the chair, her hands shaking. She finally understood. She had lost, and I wasn't even done yet. Gabrielle sat in stunned silence, gripping the folder like it could somehow undo everything I had just said. Her breath came in sharp, shallow gasps. Panic. Real panic. It was setting in now. Ew. She swallowed hard, her fingers tightening around the papers. You didn't actually send this, right? I stared at her. Let the silence drag. She leaned forward, her eyes wild. Robert, you didn't send this. It wasn't a question anymore. It was desperation. I smiled. Slowly. You think I'm bluffing? She flinched. That was my answer. Gabrielle had spent months lying to me, deceiving me. But now she was realizing the truth. She had lost control. Her hands trembled as she flipped through the pages again, like she was hoping she had imagined it. I can fix this, she whispered, barely breathing. We can fix this. Please, Robert, just let me explain. I tilted my head. Explain. I repeated. What exactly do you think you can explain? She opened her mouth, closed it. Her eyes darted between me and the divorce papers still sitting on the table. The silence stretched. Then she snapped. Damn it, Robert. She slammed the folder shut, standing so fast the chair scraped against the floor. The crocodile tears vanished. The guilt? Gone. Now I was seeing the real Gabrielle. You just want to throw everything away? She spat. I leaned back, arms crossed. You mean like you did? Her nostrils flared. There it was. The truth she had been trying to bury beneath fake apologies. She wasn't sorry she cheated. She was sorry she got caught. I stood up, grabbing my keys. Where are you going? She demanded, her voice rising. We need to talk about this. I didn't even look at her. There's nothing to talk about. She followed me as I walked to the door. Robert, please. We can figure this out. I stopped with my hand on the doorknob. Then, without turning around, I delivered the next blow. Oh, by the way, I said casually, your lover's wife knows too. Silence. Utter, suffocating silence. I turned just in time to see the color drain from her face. What? She whispered. I smirked. I sent everything to her this morning. Screenshots. Hotel receipts. A detailed timeline of all the times you two snuck around behind our backs. Her lips parted. No sound came out. For the first time since this started, Gabrielle had no words. And I wasn't done yet. I stepped closer, lowering my voice. I wonder what she's going to do now that she knows the father of her children has been screwing his boss in cheap motels. Gabrielle stumbled back like I had slapped her. I walked out the door without another word. And the fun was only just beginning. I didn't go far. I sat in my car across the street, watching the house. It didn't take long. 30 minutes later, Gabrielle's phone lit up with call after call. Her lover's wife had received the evidence. Then, she showed up. I watched from the shadows as a sleek black car pulled up. A woman stepped out, her movements sharp, calculated. I had spoken to her once, briefly, just enough to ruin Gabrielle's life. She stormed up the driveway, pounding on the door. I imagined Gabrielle's horrified expression as she opened it. I wished I could hear what was being said inside, but I didn't need to, because 15 minutes later, Gabriel's lover stumbled out the front door with a suitcase flying after him. His wife wasn't just leaving him. She was kicking him out on the spot. One move, one message, and I had just burned two people's worlds to the ground. The next day, I went to work as if nothing had happened. Gabrielle, on the other hand, not so much. At exactly 9:15 a.m., I got a text. Daniel, she's in a meeting with HR right now. Shit's about to hit the fan. I leaned back in my chair, sipping my coffee. Gabrielle had worked for her company for 8 years, built a reputation, climbed a corporate ladder, and now she was fighting for her job. The company had strict policies against executive-subordinate relationships. When the CEO was handed proof of her affair, they had no choice. By noon, Gabrielle was unemployed. I imagined the moment she walked out of that office for the last time. The shame, the regret, the realization that everything was crumbling around her. And I went out for lunch. I celebrated, because my revenge was still far from over. Gabrielle had always been a woman of control. She was calculated, cold when she needed to be, and always 3 steps ahead in any situation. But now, she was unraveling. Now, she was the one scrambling to keep her life from crumbling into dust. It started with a phone call. I ignored it. Then another, and another. By the 4th, I answered, not because I wanted to hear her voice, but because I wanted to watch her drown in the consequences of her own betrayal. The moment I picked up, there was silence. Heavy, anxious silence. Then a broken, trembling whisper. Robert. I stayed silent, letting her sit in her own discomfort. She exhaled shakily. Please, can we talk? I glanced out the window, watching the city lights blur in the rain. You mean like we talked when you came home late at night? When you looked me in the eye and lied to me over and over? I know, she said quickly. I was wrong. I was selfish. I wasn't thinking. But, Robert, I cut her off. You were thinking. Every time you texted him, every time you made plans, every time you chose him over me, you were thinking. Silence. Then a choked sob. I lost my job. I smirked. Oh, I knew. I know. I said casually. I was waiting for you to catch up. Another sharp inhale. She was unraveling. They escorted me out. Just like that. No severance. No discussion. 8 years. And they threw me out like I was nothing. The irony. That's exactly how she had treated me. I leaned back in my chair. Sounds rough. She let out a strangled laugh, one full of bitterness and disbelief. You're enjoying this, aren't you? I took a sip of my whiskey, letting the silence answer for me. Her voice cracked. Robert, please. You don't have to do this. I tilted my head. Do what? She swallowed audibly. Destroy me. I chuckled. A slow, deliberate sound. Destroy you? Gabrielle, you destroyed yourself the moment you thought you could cheat on me and walk away unscathed. Her breath hitched. It didn't mean anything. It was a mistake. I cut her off. It was a choice. And now, you get to live with it. She sobbed openly now, pathetic and desperate. I let her feel every ounce of helplessness, every drop of despair, every whisper of loss that I had once felt. Please, she whimpered. I can't lose you too. That's when I laughed, truly laughed. You lost me the moment you silenced my call at that restaurant, Gabrielle. I hung up, and for the first time in a long, long time, I felt free. Over the next few weeks, Gabrielle's downfall became a public spectacle. Her company severed ties with her. Her friends, the ones who once admired her confidence and ambition, pulled away. Her family, ashamed. Her lover, gone. Word got out about what happened. The whispers spread. The same woman who once strutted through life with power and prestige was now nothing more than a fallen queen. And then, as expected, she showed up. I heard the knock at my door before I saw her. Slow, hesitant, weak. I already knew who it was. I took my time opening it, reveling in the control I now had. And when I finally did, Gabrielle stood there, a shell of the woman she once was. Her usually pristine hair was unkempt. Her once manicured nails were chipped. Her expensive clothes? Gone. She looked up at me with red-rimmed eyes. Hi. I didn't reply, just leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. She swallowed. Can I come in? No. She exhaled shakily. Robert, I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. But you don't. She flinched. But still, She pushed forward. Because she had nothing left to lose. I was wrong, she whispered. I let something stupid ruin us. I know I can't undo it. But she let out a shaking breath. I just wanted to see you. To talk. To. I tilted my head. To what, Gabrielle? Beg? Cry? Try to rewrite the past. She inhaled sharply. I still love you. A flicker of anger sparked in my chest, but I didn't let it show. I smiled, a cruel, knowing smile. No, I said. You don't. Her brows furrowed. You love what I gave you. The stability, the security, the adoration. I stepped forward, lowering my voice. But love doesn't lie. Love doesn't betray. Love doesn't shove a knife into someone's back and expect a bandage in return. Her lips trembled. You don't love me, I whispered. You miss what I provided. Her breath hitched. She knew I was right. And that was the part that destroyed her the most. She reached out, her fingers grazing mine, a desperate attempt to cling to something that was already dead. Please, she whispered. I stared at her hand. Then, slowly, I pulled mine away. You did this to yourself, Gabrielle. Tears streamed down her face. Silent, unstoppable. But I felt nothing. She had spent months making choices that led her here. And now, she had to live with them. I stepped back. And then, I closed the door in her face. That was the last time I ever saw Gabrielle. Her name became nothing more than a whisper of the past. I moved forward. I built a life without her shadow looming over me. And for the first time in years, I was truly happy. Months later, I got one last message. Gabrielle, please, Robert. I'm sorry. I miss you. I need you. I stared at the words. So simple. So pathetic. And then, I deleted it. No response. No hesitation. Because some doors? They're meant to stay closed.